Okay, so first of all, let me start off by talking about how I'm going to be reviewing games. It's going to be a little bit different than how everybody else does it, sorry. And what makes it different is that it's not just one number and that's the rating. You know, everybody usually plays the game in its in entirety or plays a portion of it and then decides if it should be a 7 or a 70 or a 9 or whatever. No, I'm not going to do it like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play the game every 10-minute intervals. I'm going to write down and I'm going to give those last 10 minutes a rating. So if I'm playing the game and the first 10 minutes are awesome, man, I don't know what's wrong with me today, but if the first 10 minutes are awesome, then I'll give it a 9. You know, it's great. If the next 10 minutes kind of dips down, it's not so good, it's alright, I'll give it 8. Let's say 2 hours later, the last 10 minutes were really sucky, I'll give them a 3. And I'll average out all those numbers. And at the end, I'll have the average I'll have a closer average to how good the game is. I'll explain it further in detail in another video, but for now, you guys will get the idea once you see it. Okay, how can I describe how it feels to play Ryse? First of all, it feels like you're watching a movie, and that alone is enough for some people to say, nah, I don't want to play this game. But I would tell those people to reconsider, because it's not just a movie type game, if that makes any sense. It's actually really good. It's action packed, it's gory, it sets its tone since the beginning of the game and follows that tone until the game's over. It's just really good. I mean, you can see it. You can look at the trailers and exactly how the trailer depicts the game, that's how it feels to play the game. It's very, very good. Okay, so now on your screen we got the ratings from the playthrough. Every 10 minutes gets a rating, and these are all the ratings from all the 10-minute intervals that it took me until I finished the game. If you look down, you'll see the average of these ratings. That's a 78. So technically this game should get a 78, but I'm gonna get a little bit more into this rating system, and you'll see how in a little bit. Okay, now on your screen you see the data from the previous slide that we just saw, but this time it's actually plotted into a chart so you can visually see the data. And being able to visually see the data really helps us understand it better. Okay, so on this chart you'll see various lines. The long blue line starting to the left is the data that we just saw. It all connects together and you'll see that it's generally increasing. So that means the game is getting better as it goes. Okay, probably the next thing you'll notice is the green line. And what the green line is, it's shaped like a parabola. Well, actually it is a parabola. And it kind of specifies the points where it shifts from increasing to decreasing or decreasing to increasing. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with the exact calculations, but from the green line we do derive 4 points that are going to make up another average that's going to affect the rating, the final rating of the game. Okay, so these 4 points you see on your screen now are 60 where it starts, and then increasing to 81, then decreasing to 75, and lastly increasing where it's going to stop at 92. And you get the average of these 4 numbers, which will be 77, and that 77 is going to affect the final rating of the game. Okay, now going back to the CSA chart, the next thing you'll see is an orange line going through the blue and the green one. And what this orange line means, it's basically just a trend line that's showing you the increase of how the game gets better while you play more, as you play more of it. Now you get a better look at the trend line on your screen, and when you look at the trend line like this, blown up and isolated, you notice how it starts off at the base rating of 6 and ends the game at the high rating of 9, which is really good. Also, another thing you'll notice is that it has an angle of 27 degrees, and these things, it's just extra information. It's just another way to look at the information. This trend line isn't going to affect the final rating, because the way that I obtained this trend line is by using the data that we saw in the chart. So it's actually the same numbers. This is just some bonus stuff that I threw in there. It's not going to affect the final rating. It's just another way of looking at the data. Okay, so going back to the CSA chart, the next thing you'll notice are the 2 blue lines that are separated off to the right, and you'll see that one is both of these lines are post-play numbers, which means that I came up with these ratings after I had finished the game, depending on what I liked about the game and what I didn't. So the first blue line you'll see are the cons, and the second blue line are the pros, and I'll go a little bit more into detail about those two things. Okay, so now on your screen you see the pros and cons list. I'm going to talk a little bit about the cons first. The first thing that I noticed about the game that I didn't like was the camera. It really does take some getting used to, because I did not like how you couldn't adjust it. But it wasn't that big of a deal, but it was enough big of a deal to where I had to give it a 5 out of 10, because the camera did bug me a lot. Next, I have to talk about the gameplay, or specifically the battle system. It gets very repetitive. You kill, it's just, every battle is basically the same. You block, you dodge, you wait for your hit, and then you hit, and you execute, you kill. It gets repetitive, but just because it's repetitive doesn't mean that it's not satisfying. It's very satisfying to see the executions in this game. And after you beat some hard bosses, if you try the online multiplayer, it can be kind of satisfying. But it doesn't stop being repetitive at the end of the day. Next, the enemy AI is pretty predictable after about an hour. I gave it a 5 out of 10, but it probably should have been lower, because you can basically, there is a variety of enemies, but you'll get to learn their tricks pretty soon. It's very predictable and repetitive. I should have given it lower, but I'm going to stick with the rating of 5 out of 10. Now I'm going to talk about the open world elements, which in this game are very basic. It just feels like you're walking down a hallway, pretty decorated looking hallway. There's really nothing much to do. I mean, you can try and explore, you can try and go places, but mostly everything's sealed off, and it just feels like you're going in a straight path the whole time. So it's not very good. Alright, now I'm going to talk about the exploration here. And it's pretty similar to what I was just talking about, the open world elements. But what I mean by exploration is how far you can go from the path that you're supposed to take, and the little things that you can find, collectibles and things like that. And what this game is very good at, which is a bad thing, is employing guided open exploration. Which what this means is that it's kind of like the game's holding your hand the whole time, because it really does feel like you're only going in one direction. Even though you can move around and it's wide areas, they have everything sealed off to where there's only one exit, so you can only go in one possible direction, which is where the developer wants you to go. And I really don't like this type of exploration. I want to be able to go wherever I want to go and find the way to where I need to go on my own, without the game telling me where to go. After you walk around for a little bit, the game gives you this icon of where you need to be. It's kind of telling you like, hurry up, stop exploring, come on, let's go, let's finish the game. And they really shouldn't do that. Also, the collectibles, they kind of glow green when you get near them, so it's kind of obvious where they are. I mean, some people will like this. For me, I mean, it really didn't bother me, but I didn't like it either. But it just doesn't feel like there is much exploration. That's why I gave it a 4 out of 10. Okay, and the last part of the cons is the online multiplayer. And I'm actually glad that it has an online multiplayer, because I think the developers first, they intended this game to be a single player only, so the addition of a multiplayer was actually a bonus. So it's a good thing that it's there. It's just not much you can do with it. I mean, it's an arena type deal where you go in with other people and you take on hordes of enemies until you can survive. Sometimes you have objectives, but it's basically like a horde mode. There's really nothing much to do there other than that. It's fun, but it gets boring after a while. Alright, now let's get into the pros, which I really want to talk about, because this game has some very good qualities to it also. The first pro is something you'll notice right from the beginning, and that's the visuals. They are beautiful. This game has some really good visuals, especially if you're playing it on PC. I mean, there's nothing I can complain about the visuals. This game is just spot on, dead on with what you want to see from an old Roman game. I don't even know what to say. The visuals are really good. That's why I'm giving it such a high rating. It really does deserve a 9 out of 10. Next up is the voice acting, which is really good. It does not hinder the game at all, and it actually does help it. It's not the best because there's been other games that have better voice acting, but it is really good voice acting. I like the main character, Marius. I like his character, and another character, his name is Battalion. He's a commander of yours. I like his voice actor also, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that are really good. It really does deserve the rating. It's not the best, but it's still really damn good. Okay, next thing is the character development. I was actually surprised that this game has character development. I thought it was going to be more of like a all you do is fight war type game, but it actually does have a plot, and with all the plots they need to have character development. Now the character development in this game is not, I mean, it's present, it's there. It's not very good. I feel like the only character you grow a bond with is the main character, and it's not one that's very strong, but I do feel the presence in it. At least I did. And you get to see how he grows, you get attached, and that's really what character development is all about. So because it's there and because it connects you with the main character, even though it's not a lot, it still connects you, I gave it a 7 out of 10. Next, I'm going to talk about the plot, which is basic and predictable, yet it's still satisfying. At the end of the game, I actually was satisfied with how the game ended, even though I totally knew how it was gonna end. It's very predictable. So if you're looking for some twists, I mean, you're gonna find some, but it's not a lot, and they're not that big or important. But overall, I did like the plot, and it kind of fit the style of the game and the type of the game, and I was happy with it. That's why I gave it a 7 out of 10. Next, I gave a rating to the ending because I liked the way the game ended. Even though it was predictable, I still enjoyed it. That's why I gave the ending a rating. Now, when it comes to content, there is very little yet enough for this type of game. I felt like the content was sufficient. It wasn't, how do I explain it? It wasn't a lot. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. It's just the story mode, which takes you about 10-13 hours to finish. I mean, I think maybe even a little bit less. And then there's the online multiplayer, and that's it. So there's really not much content. I mean, there's collectibles, but they're really not that important to do. But I feel like that's enough because the game is so beautiful. The plot is okay. I was actually satisfied with the amount of content. That's why I gave it a 7 out of 10. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is the cinematics, the cutscenes. Oh my god, I love the cutscenes in this game. First of all, they look beautiful, and second of all, they are kind of like scenes, like watching a movie. And personally, for me, I like those type of cutscenes. I like the ones that feel like you're watching a movie. And the good thing about them is that these cutscenes don't last like 5-10 minutes. No, they might be 1 minute or 2 at most. Most of the times they're less than a minute, but they are very beautifully shot, very beautifully voice acted, and everything is just great about them. That's why I gave them a 10 out of 10. These cutscenes are probably the best thing about the game. They're really damn good, and I love seeing them. It really got me pumped. It made me feel like I was a Roman soldier, even though I was sitting down the whole time I was playing this game. It just, everything about those cutscenes were really good. It really pulls you into the story. That's why it gets a perfect score. Okay, the last thing I'm going to talk about here is the mood, the setting, the tone, all of that. And I forgot to add a section for the music, but I'm going to add the music kind of into this last section, which is the setting, the tone that the game gives off. I loved the tone. It really goes with the story, it goes with the cinematics, the cutscenes. It's very well, it puts you into the shoes of the character. It's kind of even hard to describe because it's so good. The music is amazing. It's one of my favorite things about this game. The music, the tone, the setting, it always feels right with what you're doing in this game. That's why I gave it a 9 out of 10. It almost feels perfect. There are some times where it kind of dips a little bit, but 90% of the time the setting, the tone of the game completely fits with what you're doing, and it just enhances how the I don't even know what to say. It's just really, really good. That's all I have to say. Okay, so on the bottom there, you get to see the average of the cons, which is a 51, and the average of the pros, which is an 80. But that's not the number that's going to affect the final rating is the combined average. And I'm so dumb, I forgot to put the number in there. I'll probably draw it in later. If it's all nasty looking, it's because I drew it in. I didn't type it in. But the way that I'm going to get the combined average is different than how I got the cons and pros average. The way I'm going to get the combined average is that you'll notice that there's 14 points that I talked about here on the pros and cons list. So I'm going to add up all the ratings, and I'm going to divide them by 14 to get the average. And that's going to be the combined average of the pros and cons. And that's going to be the number that's going to affect the final rating, and you'll see how it's going to affect it in a little bit. Okay, now we get to the last screen here, and we see the CSA average, the parabola average, and the post-play average. And these three numbers are the ones that are going to affect the final rating. We're going to add these up, average them, and get the final rating. And that should be a closer rating to how the game, a closer rating to the game, you know. It's not a rushed review, it's not a biased review. I gave it its good points, I gave it its bad points, and I feel like this is a closer representation to the true rating of the game. Okay, so the final rating is a 74. That's right, that's what it feels like to play this game. It might seem low to some of you guys, and the reason that it is low is because Ryse suffers from some technical errors, but what truly makes this game amazing, and what makes me recommend this game to others, is the visuals, the cutscenes, the cinematics, the music, all of that, the world of ancient Rome that you get dropped into. It really is worth the buy. I would totally recommend this game hands down to anybody. It's just amazing, and those things that I just talked about, they really make this game worth buying. It is definitely worth picking up, and I cannot stress that enough. This game, even though its final rating is 74, I don't regret playing it at all. And I think if you try it out, I think you will not regret this game at all. Give it a chance, and if you're kind of hesitant, you might want to wait until it's on sale on Steam if you have a PC, or until it gets a price drop on Xbox One. But I definitely recommend getting this game. It is an amazing game. It's awesome. I had a great time playing it. I had a great time making this review. And if you enjoyed this review, if you want to see more, hit that like button, you know. And your opinions, I'm glad. I want to hear your opinions. What do you think about this type of review, this system? Do you like it? Do you think it's whack? Anything you have to say, put it in the comments below, and I'll be checking it. I'll be listening. I'll be making adjustments to whatever you guys are saying. Alright everyone, so that's it for this review. I had a lot of fun. I can't wait to go back and make another review. I'm going to try and get one out quick. So I'll see you guys next time on the next CSA review.